A very good day to you and welcome to Security Matters on Global TV. We're live on Star Times channel 276. My name is Kemi Ashekun and it's a pleasure to be here. The last time on Security Matters, we took a look at the Wagner Group, how they started and what they have become. And of course, their incursion into the African continent and the many the lots of destabilizations they have caused across the African continent. First coming in as helpers, in progress, but eventually going back to what they originally are known for, a pay-for-hire security outfit, as mercenaries usually are, and at the end of the day it becomes something for who pays the highest. Before we go into the beef of the matter and before you meet my guest today on Security Matters, we'll take a quick look at what the Wagner Group has been up to in the last few weeks. Welcome back to Security Matters. We're live on Global TV, Star Times channel 276, and we're taking a quick look at some of what the Wagner Group has been up to in the last few weeks. It's pertinent to note that the Wagner Group in the last 1 year has earned over $1 billion from Russia in the claim that they're fighting for Russia against Ukraine. But you would recall that the Wagner Group head, Prigozhin, had tried to cause some chaos against even the Russian army that they're fighting for. Don't forget that on the last show, we did mention that the mercenaries that fight for the Wagner Group are hardened criminals given a new lease of life by asking to come and fight for their life as mercenaries for the Wagner Group. In all the countries across the African nation that the Wagner Group has been involved in, it has been chaos upon chaos upon chaos, including asking many thousands in Mali to dig their own graves and killing them just like that. Of course, what do we expect from hardened criminals who are given another opportunity to come to fore amongst human beings? It's time to meet my guest. He's the chief media consultant to Global TV, a very, very interested party in the going-ons across the world. He is one of those who, is interested in the fact that Africa should not be run over by mercenaries, either by the name of Wagner or any other name. A very good day to you, and it's good to have you in the studio again, Dr. Ali Abdullahi.
It's good to be here, Kemi. Viewers, welcome to the program.
Thank you for joining us. Let's take a quick look at how disinformation, affects the insecurity across the African continent. It is said that the Wagner Group are actually very particular about using social media influencers in the countries where they are to create chaos, right?
Well, it's, I think, misinformation, misrepresentation, if sometimes people call it propaganda. Yes, they use the social platform to propagate, their ideals, so to speak, who they are. But we know who they are. They are missionaries and criminals. And of course, even what we have been hearing, a lot of story unfolding about their atrocities in the current war that is taking place in Ukraine. To the extent that even Putin, who pretty much is behind their quote-unquote crusade, is having a problem with them.
Well, I think it's a good time to ask if it is possible, by any stroke of luck or chance, that mercenaries can have an ideology that is forward-thinking.
I don't think they have any ideology besides making money. As far as they're concerned, going to a foreign country is more like a discovery for them, and they have their interest. Not beside the killings, they are also looting, and they are also interested in some of the natural resources in African countries.
However, it is pertinent to note that the Wagner Group itself has lost more than 21,000 of the fighters. But if we look at it again, these are people who ordinarily were already condemned to one form of death or the other, prison terms. But when we, take a backtrack, I'm wondering that judging by the racist views that some of these people have, could they possibly want to fight for the downtrodden in Africa?
Not at all. I mean, that is actually the dilemma. And you begin to wonder, why would any African country would like to, have these hired mercenaries to come to their country with this kind of agenda that is quote unquote racism. So absolutely, I think, they are really, like we indicated before and we articulated, they are bad news, and they should not be accommodated anywhere.
Let's take a quick look at Yevgeny Prigozhin himself. He used to be friends with the Russian president, Vladimir Putin, and from the history I gathered, he actually started having a restaurant, and then maybe Putin at some point ate in that restaurant, felt that the place was a good place, and then they became friends.
Yes.
For a person like that, what could possibly, be his motivating factor? Is it the idea of becoming, the chief lord and master of the entire world? Because as you said, he comes to you, say, "Oh, I'm here for you," and then he gets your trust the way he got Putin's trust, and then he now wants to dominate you.
He's a warlord, and yes, just as you indicated, he's a friend to the president of Soviet Russia, Mr. Putin. However, they have a rift. They are at loggerheads.
He turned against his friend.
Yes, so this tells you the kind of personality or kind of group we're dealing with. They are criminals, and if it's not their way, then everything collapses. Basically, that's what it is. So he's really bad news. And even right now, there is a kind of insurgency in the Soviet, which actually is now a challenge to Putin. And even people are beginning to wonder, does he really have the clout or the leadership to even contend Wagner and their gangs?
But now this, I think, should interest a lot of Africans, especially those countries that have opened their doors to him. If a man, could turn against his own friend who had at least funded, all he has claimed he was doing on their behalf, with over $1 billion as we speak, as of today, and he could turn against that person, then the question to ask is, what do Africans have to give a person who will turn against his friend? You're watching Security Matters live on Global TV. We're on StarTimes channel 276. We'll take a quick break, and when we do come back, we'll have more. Welcome. You're watching Security Matters on Global TV, StarTimes channel 276. We've been taking a look at the Wagner Group and the various atrocities clothed in Trojan horse that they have brought across the world, from Russia to Central African Republic to Mali. It's been one case of chaos or the other. However, we do have our men on the streets. We're going to find out from people on the streets how much they know about this very dangerous group.
I feel inviting the Wagner Group is not a bad idea. The reason because insecurity in Nigeria is a very serious issue, and with insecurity, nothing will go well. Farmers can't go to the farm, people can't travel, people can't do their business. So why not, if you can, invite machineries to do the work, and after doing the work, they go back. There's nothing wrong there. Some countries actually do this. Even the almighty US, there are some things they contract out. So it is really not a bad idea for the federal government to invite these people to clean up the forest, to clean up all these hotspots, so that our people can go to their farms, our people can do their business without any fear.
I don't think it's right for the Nigerian government to contract the security of this country to any other country or bodies or organizations, because I think the Nigerian military has enough numbers and personnel to deal with or handle the situation as the case may be. I just think it's a lack of civic responsibility of the government as a duty to the citizen of the country, because all these troops need the Nigerian armed forces is the motivation and the command. This is the same armed forces that have gone for international projects before in solving cases of and restoring peace and order in other African nations. And these are the same military that we've heard of huge budgets that has been given out for personnel to go for training in different countries, in the US, in China, and then in Russia. So do they mean to say that these trainings that they went for are not enough or not worth it? So I don't think the government, unless they have something that they are not telling us, something they are not saying.
I don't believe in Wagner Group, because Nigeria as a country, we have what it takes for we to take care of our responsibility. And what is causing insecurity is injustice. Nigeria have experienced army, both serving now and retired service chiefs. They have so much experience, they are traveling, they attend so many courses. So our problem is between ourselves.
If it's feasible or if it's ideal for federal government to invite foreign external forces to complement the local one in order to combat all these terror attacks, I think it's a good thing. Because one, the way this is going now, it has gone beyond ordinary, beyond the power, beyond the understanding of our own military to tame them. Because the mercenaries themselves, we have come to reliably gather that most of them are from other countries. They invaded Nigeria. Most of them are not Nigerians. So if that is the case, we should use international means also in order to tame it. Because why? By virtue of the expertise. And these are countries that have gotten a similar experience in the past. So by virtue, when they come, they now capitalize, team up with our own military men and see how the way and manner they can be able to contend this invasion. So because this has been lingering on all along, government gone, come and go. They have been trying all whatever measures in order to tame the bet. They refuse to end. It comes in different dimensions. Today, Boko Haram, tomorrow, S-men, this and that. Kidnapper things is getting too much and very embarrassing. And it's having a consequence on Nigerian outlook in the other parts of the world. And also it's affecting our business because some core investors who want to come and invest in our economy, but when the body policy is not ideal, it's not so congenial for them, they will take their investment to somewhere else.
You're watching Security Matters live on Global TV, StarTimes Channel 276. We've been speaking about the Wagner Group and the many atrocities across the world, especially in the African countries they have claimed to come and help. Right now, we're taking a quick look at the adoption of European sanctions against the Wagner Group and its allies in Africa. Quite a few people bought into the idea that mercenaries could do more for Africa beyond just collecting money. However, our friends across the world, the EU and other nations. And we're taking a look now at some of the sanctions placed by the European Union and some other nations who know that the mercenaries will never do anything with regards to something of quality, so to speak, in protection of other nations, but of their own interest, which is money and looting of wherever it is that they find themselves. The EU adopted several sanctions against the Wagner Group and its allies across Africa, some of which includes Ivan Alendrovit Maslov, the head of the Wagner Group in Mali, whose mercenaries were involved in extrajudicial killings, such as the Mora massacre in March 2022. They also, placed a sanction on Vitaly Pervilev, Dmitry Sitil, an advisor on inflation operations on the Central African Presidency, head of Lobaye Invessalu, and the president of the Russian House in Bangui. All right, there are a lot more sanctions that have been placed on several groups. It includes Lobaye Invest, Diamville, the Foundation for the Defense of National Values, Radio Lengo, Mera Gold, M Invest, Shewa Security Services, and other sanctions have been placed on these groups. But to wrap up the show, Security Matters today on Global TV, StarTimes Channel 276, we're going to take a look at the role of NATO with our guest, the Chief Media Consultant to Global TV, on this right after this break. Just stay with us. Welcome back. You're watching Security Matters. We're live on Global TV, StarTimes Channel 276. Time to speak with the Chief Media Consultant to Global TV once again with regards to NATO. What's NATO's role in all of this?
Well, of course, it's condemnation. And first of all, let's define NATO. NATO is pretty much European countries with North American countries come together as allies, to protect their interests, especially military. But you see, Ukraine here is the fall guy, so to speak, because it's not a member of NATO, and that is why pretty much the Wagner having a field day, with the atrocities and what have you. So absolutely, NATO is condemning, the war itself, and then also the Wagner presence in Ukraine. The same thing with the United Nations. United Nations also is condemning, the war in Ukraine and what have you. But the issue here is that, okay, how long this is going to continue? I mean, the whole international community are condemning it, and it looks like the fear now is that actually Putin is losing it. I mean, in terms of leadership of Russia, and then at the same time he cannot even control his friend,
who had offered him help and has turned against him.
Exactly. So this is the dilemma, and it really is a very serious security threat, not only to that region, but to the globe.
Dr. Abdullahi, what do you think is the way forward? How do we contain people who have so much money in their hands, but have no ideology with regards to, they have so much money, they have so much weapons, but have no ideology whatsoever, no respect for human life?
That's why, people should know who they are, and, they're criminals, and of course, the United Nations definitely has to come up with a solution to that, because now, they have to decide. And at the same time, other countries also have to bring resolution to the National Assembly so that this kind of criminals, are not allowed to continue this kind of carnage. Basically, that is pretty much what should be in the issue, and I believe there are countries who are actually advocating and condemning them. It has been in the pipeline.
Well, that has been in the pipeline. It's time for all nations, especially the United Nations, NATO, and all those to whom it matters to that we have a more peaceful world come together, make more information available about this Wagner Group, about the fact that they lack total ideology of progress, and they're only a pay-for-hire mercenary group, so that we do not have a third world war across the world. That's the Security Matters for you today on Global TV, StarTimes Channel 276. Many thanks to my guest, Dr. Ali Abdullahi.
Thank you, Kemi. It's good to see you, and see you again later.
Thank you. And that's it. My name is Kemi Asheko, and we'll see you next time. Thank you for being a part of it.